So today we're going to be discussing a guy who is my age who gets paid allegedly to shill for Joe Biden. It's like you're the devil's advocate, but not actually. He's just a decrepit old man. And so he's got the worst job description I can think of. And so, to be honest, it's really, it could be mean to dunk on the guy, but he really deserves it. He's one of these smug Gen Z TikTok liberals. I don't use the app, but I know of him. And I've dunked on Harry Sisson last year even. So this goes back a while, and he has a good amount of support given the drivel he espouses every single day. It's really impressive. I really want him as a public defender. That's like basically what he's good at, is just defending the undefendable in the way that it's so bad too. And so I'm just kind of impressed by the fact that he's able to shovel so much crap every single day and have a smirk on his face with his slit eyes and say, oh my God, I love Joe Biden so much. It's really impressive. And so we're going to discuss that today. We're also going to take some shots at Joe Biden himself, obviously, because Dark Brandon completely shat his pants, just like a lot of people, his contemporaries, really at the retirement home. And so we need to just add him into the mix too. Anyway, also, before anybody says, oh, poor kid, oh, he's just a baby, he's a little older than me for one. And two, he was so smug about this. In fact, he was more confident in Joe Biden, at least he was presenting as such, than I was in Trump. And I'm like a diehard MAGA guy. And so for that to be the case, it's just showing how out of line he is, or dishonest maybe. You gotta consider, okay, how stupid do you really have to be to unironically think that Joe Biden did anything better than complete disaster in terms of level of performance for this debate, man? Now, we're going to review the timeline insofar as right before the debate, so we can kind of get the full scope of the cope. Because again, it's a very remarkable Sistine Chapel of cope. Okay, so I got that quote from somebody else, but the point being is that you're going to really be taken aback by how much this guy does mental gymnastics. Okay, really like a Simone Biles, just that in this case, he doesn't quit. He just keeps sucking and sucking it hard. Okay, now let's start with the first post. So June 27th, y'all notice here. Love this. President Biden just made a surprise appearance to say hello to some supporters in Atlanta, Georgia, before his debate with convicted felon Trump tonight. Biden is awesome. He's always making time for the people. So let's get started with this. So his debate with convicted felon Trump. Now, I'm going to be a little edgy, but it's actually completely true. But this whole, I don't know how rich he was, but I'm assuming upper middle class white kid to say convicted felon as a pejorative is a disgusting way of speaking. And it's also out of line with your constituency, Harry Sisson. Now, let's just think logically. Atlanta, Georgia. What's the strongest constituency for Joe Biden in Atlanta, Georgia, where he would need support, copious amounts, really, like he did last time to win Georgia? Okay, so to win Georgia, you would need the black people, obviously, to actually turn out really harshly and positively for Donald Trump. No, sorry, Joe Biden. See, that was a Joe Biden moment. I can admit it. But if you can see here, what percentage of black voters, and in specific black men, are felons? So again, Harry Sisson is using felon, convicted felon as a pejorative. I'm over here as the Republican conservative saying that, you know what, you could be a convicted felon and still be a good person. In fact, you could be off the back of a conviction and say, you know what, maybe you changed your lifestyle and you're a different person. Because, of course, the law does not 100% correlate with God's mandate of morality. And even in a secular sense, also, okay? Many convicted felons over weed, for example, historically, are they scumbags? Harry Sisson would be like, no, that's okay, but now you're going to use convicted felon. Why? Because he mishandled some documents or some, whatever the hell the excuse is. Anyway, according to a 2017 data from Demography, okay, 33% of African-American men in the United States have a felony conviction. Okay, so most black men are going to be voting for Biden. Let's say 80% of them will. About a third of them are convicted felons, which is hard to believe, but it's true. So imagine Joe Biden and his fucking lackeys, his capos, really, getting paid not enough, apparently, are going to say, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to call Joe Biden's opponent, Donald Trump, a loser because he's a convicted felon, to an audience of about 1/3 of the people in which they are also convicted felons. You fucking dolt. So look at how out of touch this punk is, by the way. So Joe Biden speaking to people, obviously. Let's see how many black people are in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I see 12, 13. 13. According to this stat right here, about a third of those people, like 4 or 5 of them, are convicted felons. And Harry Sisson, the white kid, has no fucking clue about that because he doesn't interact with these people, I'm assuming. And I don't honestly either. I live in southern Arizona, but I'm smart enough to know that these people exist and that they have their own issues. And for Joe Biden to use convicted felon as just a blanket statement of turpitude, of moral turpitude and horrible conduct is really out of touch here. Look at this. I would read it in the Harry Sisson voice, but I don't want to get any more gay allegations, okay? OMG, the DNC put up a billboard all over Atlanta tonight for the presidential debate. Trump is a convicted felon and he should never be allowed to forget it. Look at this. Imagine, let's put the shoe in the other foot, okay? Let's put the black Air Force Ones in the other foot, okay? Imagine if in another context you said, Tyrone is a convicted felon. He should never be able to forget it. Do you really stand by that, Harry? You fucking idiot. Again, this is your constituency. Most black people vote for Democrats. And a lot of them are felons. You're going to say, oh, he's a convicted felon, guys. And what, you think Tyrone's going to be like, oh, shit, man. Man, Trump, man, he's decent, but I changed my mind. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, man. Just because you're a convicted felon doesn't make you a bad person. There's plenty of black felons that are fine people. Obviously. So to just do this is so out of touch. It kind of shows the neoliberal, white, posh, suburban ineptitude mentally of this sort of person like Harry. Now we get some more content. So just after that stupid post about the billboard and the felon stuff, he says MAGA is absolutely terrified of the debate between Biden and Trump. They're coming up with any excuse possible before the debate has even begun to justify Donald Trump's terrible performance. Sorry, MAGA. Trump will be badly exposed on the stage tonight. All right, so now we're cooking, baby. So again, MAGA is terrified that Joe Biden is going to expose Donald Trump. Can we get a scoreboard check? Scoreboard. Okay, so who won the debate? According to CNN Debate Watchers, by the way, CNN. Conducted by SSRS. Okay. So with the margin of error of only 5.5%, 2/3 of debate watchers have Donald Trump beating Joe Biden, over double that. Like, imagine, over twice as many people say that Trump beat Biden than vice versa. So can we get a scoreboard check? Or so look at this guy. I'm ready to watch President Biden destroy Donald Trump at the debate tonight. Let's go, Joe. Now, Harry is a step or two behind the shills and the establishment media that knew low-key that Joe Biden is an idiot and is obviously mentally not there. Clearly, they knew to lower the bar and set the expectations as low as possible so that when their guy actually poops the stage, that maybe people had the expectation of him pissing himself. And so that sort of contrast isn't too much of one. And whereas Harry does not take any sort of note from his colleagues. In fact, he looks at these older people, says, oh, no, they're idiots. Yeah, Joe will totally school Donald Trump. And look what happened, okay? Whoa. So let's look at the stages of cultism, okay? So this guy says MAGA cultists all this, okay? Number one, he's wearing the Biden Harris shirt, which is super, like, just based off of the shirt itself, you would assume the person has gynecomastia. The shirt is garbage. Now, when it comes to this picture in the back, okay, he has some sort of small frame, whatever that is, of a dark Brandon with laser eyes. So, like, come on, man. We have some more prime Biden bull jive. Look at this. I don't know what they've got in these performance enhancers, but I'm feeling pretty jacked up. Try it yourselves, folks. See you in a bit. So this is Get Real, Jack. It's just water. Zero malarkey. So this is the Biden grift or whatever. This is the spin. He's not on Adderall. He's not on whatever enhancers. I don't know what those even are. He's on water. Okay, well, this either is a obfuscation from the truth, which he was jacked up on stuff, or two, he actually wasn't on anything, in which case they probably should have given him something, given the scoreboard, okay? So, if Joe really was an honest person and did not take any Adderall, he should have consulted his doctor right fucking now, okay? He should have just done it yesterday or the day before. I mean, this is crazy. Ha 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 ha. President Biden just brutally trolled Donald Trump and his campaign. Well done, Joe. Yeah, awesome, dude. Really? Really? You dork? The secret sauce, by the way. The secret sauce to lose, dork. What? What an L. So look at how complex of a troll this is. Okay, let's see how this actually holds up. Ha 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 ha. Again, this is so formulaic. The ha ha ha's, the precise amount of them, and the exclamation point is crazy. Anyhow, the dark Brandon secret sauce that is now being sold by Biden's campaign has ingredients that include MAGA tears, which they're just stealing that from liberal tears. So that's stupid. Mysterious orange liquid. What's the insinuation there? That Trump's orange and therefore what he's like in a blender? I don't think they're cool enough to even insinuate that. They're probably saying that like he's going to be sweating maybe. Like his tanning spray will melt or something. And then melted chocolate chip ice cream. It's like a nebulous reference at best. Lol, exclamation point. This is so good. Amazing trolling from the Biden campaign. Not really. Okay, now let's look at some more details here. Okay, additional facts. Biden-Harris 2024. Serving size, 2 terms. Some reminders about the other guy. Felony counts, 34. That's a stupid tagline, obviously. If you say this guy has 34 felonies, that's just ridiculous. And, Donald Trump disarms this by saying, I have more felonies than Alphonse Capone, which is a good point. You really got to consider a guy who kills 5 people has less felonies usually than Donald Trump, by the way. So, just to say 34 is stupid. If you said, maybe 4 or 1, then that would actually come off as oh, that's a considerable felony. If Hunter Biden got 34 felony counts, people would say, okay, so they're just ticky-tacking him on everything. Most people understand that level of law. 34 counts of anything is ridiculous. Their next talking point right here. Bankruptcies, 6. Okay, that's too many. Again, if you said he went bankrupt a couple times, that would make sense. But 6 actually is so much of an L for Trump that it's kind of nebulous at that point. And that sounds like hope for me, but it's true. As a Trump fan, can I name 6 of the bankruptcies? No. Can I vaguely recall maybe 2 times he did that? Sure. So if you said 2 or something. Now, impeachments. 2 impeachments. Well, that just makes it worse. If he got impeached twice, that shows that the first one was BS, obviously, or else he would have gotten enough support to actually adjudicate that properly if he did something that bad. But he obviously didn't, and that was a witch hunt. And so was the second one. And then business failures, countless. Well, that's ironic because one guy's a billionaire and the other guy has been living off the government payroll literally my entire life, plus times 2 or 3. Okay, so imagine 50 plus years in the Senate living off the taxpayer. And then he has the audacity to say, well, Trump's business failures. Okay, so what? So again, whenever a guy like Harry Sisson says, oh my God, you're a MAGA cultist, let's look at the cope here. Remember, the first statement by Joe Biden in that debate, and I'm not going to play it because of copyright. I could maybe. I don't know. But anyway, you remember the debate. It's fresh in your minds. Unlike Joe, you have a working memory. I'm assuming people in the audience. Anyhow, leave a like if you agree. But when you remember the first opening statements, Joe Biden fucked it up so bad that I was like, wait, what? Did my thing freeze? Because I was watching it on HBO Max and I was like, okay, maybe the TV kind of froze because he was just kind of he was silent for about a good 10 seconds. He was stuttering. Okay, so imagine that. You're fumbling for 10 seconds. I cannot even consider that a possibility for me who's mentally cognizant at 21. And so for Joe Biden to be completely frozen and stun locked for 10 seconds is actually really bad. And what's the takeaway from Harry? According to the beginning of the debate, which everybody with the brain saw, Joe Biden crap his pants. You see here that he says, oh my God. Again, so many oh my gods from this guy. And he's straight. Okay, so this debate is already going terribly for Trump. His first answer lacked substance. He got lost mid-sentence, and he's rambling incoherently. A disaster for the Trump campaign already. So can you replace a few words and just put in Biden? And it would actually make complete sense. Think about it. He got lost mid-sentence. In fact, I think Joe Biden got so lost he couldn't even have a sentence to even lose. He was that out of it, which is insane. Again, it's kind of like if you were blackout drunk, but somehow worse because a drunk guy can at least still kind of move his mouth. Whereas Joe Biden, the whole debate was looking like a somewhat alive pistachio. Okay, it was disgusting to watch. And so, I mean, this tweet just kind of shows how malevolent this person is. Harry is so delusional and just completely, I don't even know what to say, man. This is so stupid. And by the way, if you want to sweep it up for Joe Biden, there's better ways to do it. You can advocate for the devil. It's called being an attorney, baby. Sometimes you got to defend somebody who's guilty on the merits and kind of obfuscate from them like they did with OJ. A good lawyer like Alan Dershowitz could do a better job defending Biden. I'll tell you what, Harry Sisson does not have that mental capacity to. Obviously, given this super stupid defense, by the way, you would never go to court and just do what they call fucking projection, where you accuse Trump of doing the exact same thing that everybody with a brain that's not completely biased noticed that Joe Biden did this, but worse, getting lost mid-sentence, rambling incoherently. That's a Joe Biden staple, baby. Come on, get real. And, to build on to my prior point, if you want to sweep it up for Joe, there's better ways to do it. Gavin Newsom, who I think is runner-up for Antichrist, actually he could be, he is super talented. He'll just straight up lie to you. I love it. It's actually really, as a Machiavellian, I really respect it. Where the guy's like, okay, Joe Biden did a great job, X, Y, and Z. But what he doesn't do is do the projection that Harry's doing here in such a juvenile way. It's so obviously a biased perspective. What's the next quote, boys? All right, so here we go. Donald Trump just said that overturning Roe v. Wade was a great thing. Okay, so first problem here. That is a dunk on Trump rhetorically. That being said, Joe Biden only beat Trump on abortion by 14% when Republicans usually lose that issue by about 30. And so just imagine that, fool. Another thing, Trump just looked at you in the face and told you that a woman's rights being taken away is great. Okay, so maybe Harry's cooking here. Women who have been R-worded being forced to give birth is great, in quotes. 10 years old giving birth is great. WTF. So duplicitous, so duplicitous. Again, this sort of liberal argumentation is why people don't believe you guys at face value when you speak, because you're being facetious. You know, the percentage of women that have abortions that are kosher, and by that I mean like have no crazy circumstances with them, is about 96% of them. They're elective. You know, sometimes you make a mistake and you say, you know what, this could ruin my career, so let's have an abortion. That is what usually happens, folks. If I got a girl pregnant before law school, I would also be like, oh my God, this is a big thing for me and a big burden. But what I wouldn't do is obfuscate and say, well, you know, what if I can justify it because some 10-year-old might be giving birth at some point in Uganda and therefore they should have the right to abortion? No. So again, using these externalities and these like one-offs to justify a whole set of millions of women every decade aborting their fetuses is ridiculous, and it's a lie. I mean, it's the equivalent of like if a Republican were arguing with a liberal and the Democrat was basically downplaying the severity of illegal immigration, saying like, okay, well, there's some great people coming. They want to provide for their family and whatnot, which is kind of true, obviously. And then you've got somebody like, let's say, the Republican version of Harry Sisson, who's an idiot, and say, well, you know, if you're okay with a million good people coming in, then you're also advocating for the, you know, let's say 50 women that get taken advantage of by illegal aliens every month or something. That would be the same level of like fair play. And I think a liberal would say, and rightfully so, like, hey, dude, you're picking up the worst apples out of the bunch. And so you're being facetious with your argument. And it's true. So I think that just kind of proves my point that Harry's a hypocrite here, because I would never say that. I would say, you know what? Illegal immigration's bad. Yeah, most of the people coming in here are actually hard workers and, you know, God bless them. But you know what? I don't want them here too. Sorry, it sucks to suck, but you were born in El Salvador. You got to stay there. For the most part, you know, you're coming in here breaking our rules. We don't know if your cousin coming over is an abuser, is an MS-13 member, and therefore we got to close the border. And so for Harry to just be such a liar is very obvious here. Okay, boom. President Biden just called out Trump to his face for calling fallen soldiers losers and suckers, and said to Trump, "You're the sucker and you're the loser." Wow, let's go Biden. That was not the way he sells it to you, is not the way it happened on TV, guys. We remember this. Boom. Biden just called out Trump for being a convicted felon. The only convicted felon on this stage is Trump. Exactly. Never let the American people forget that Trump is a convicted felon and that he breaks the law. This talking point, like I said, doesn't work. It really only helped Trump in the electoral prospect. And so this is just a stupid line if they keep bringing it up. If I were a Democrat shill, I would just not bring up the convicted felon, especially if you're advocating for, Metro Atlanta, who has plenty of convicted felons, to want to support you. You fucking fool. Like, this is just so stupid, man. Holy crap. Biden just destroyed Trump. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for allegedly, touching a woman in public, for having an affair with a porn star when your wife was pregnant with your son? Damn, Biden 2024. See, when you type out what Biden was meant to say, it comes off kind of devastating, but the way that Biden actually said it did not convey that message at all. And so again, another, if there were like a court transcript, it would include a ton of stuttering. It would include like ... unfinished words. This is not really translucent to what happened in reality. Okay, folks. So Harry just blessed us with the context here because he's an idiot. So you can kind of see how he lies for Joe Biden, but he's also too dumb to have them in line with each other. So you just saw me read this, okay? So he apparently went like, boom, wow, Biden just destroyed Trump. Okay, now scoreboard check, destroyed Trump, by the way. Okay, now let's refer to the tape.
Number 3, the crimes that you are still charged with. And think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Okay, so that was your context. Okay, now did the delivery or even the video in its entirety show anything of what Harry was talking about in one tweet here and the second one there? Okay, it just doesn't make sense. The way he's selling the people on Twitter that are half paying attention versus the people watching it in reality, these are two different things here. Very, very different. Now, next tweet: Trump is lying, lying and lying some more. This guy is utterly incapable of being president and incapable of telling the truth. He's a fraud, a criminal, and a dishonest actor. Sounds like Cope. when you're saying, oh, the guy's lying, he's lying, he's lying, that means that he's getting away with lying and that he's actually winning over the people. Because if the lies were so blatant, then he'd be taking L's like Biden. Okay, Trump didn't have to say Joe Biden is lying so much. The people sweeping it up for Trump, at least on Twitter, didn't have to say that because people on Twitter already knew that Trump was winning if they were half paying attention. And so this is a BS point. Next, boom. Okay, you can kind of see how repetitive this guy is. President Biden just told it like it is. We are the most admired country in the world. No one wants to screw with us. Damn right. With President Biden in the Oval Office, the United States is respected again. Under Trump, we were attacked by Iran. Facts speak volumes. This is so facetious. Like I said, I mean, how many times do I have to repeat myself? There's so many things to pick at here. It's insane. Just for starters, for Biden to say that we are the most admired country in the world, that might be true, but we're actively losing it. I mean, it's like if you're the most handsome man, but your hair's thinning out and you're losing your hair, your hairline is just receding. You would say, yeah, like, okay, yeah, maybe you're Tom Cruise, but in 6 months, it's not going to be the same thing. And so, yeah, we're the most respected country, but we're quickly going to be surpassed by China in multiple facets, economically, war capacity wise, perhaps that too. So, for us to be the most admired is kind of facetious. I mean, if you have Margot Robbie, who just began chemotherapy, she's not going to be the hottest girl in the Barbie movie. In fact, if she went through chemotherapy, I doubt she'd be rehired for that role if there were a sequel. And so that's just kind of the same difference here. So yeah, under Biden, we are the most respected country. We're not even actually, but we might be the most admired overall, but not for long, obviously. I mean, it's kind of like saying, because we do have this immigration issue. So a cope by liberals might be like, oh, well, if our country sucks so much, Donald, then how come they all want to come here? And it's like, well, I mean, you're comparing America, which is declining, but still probably in decline, is better than El Salvador, Guatemala, etc. And you know what? That's an obvious point. So Harry's just not cooking here. Now, it's kind of like saying, well, yeah, there's ants in the pantry, but that shows that our food is really edible. And it's like, well, not for long, dipshit. Like, yeah, of course, we've got good stuff here, but we're losing it. That's the point. Donald Trump is not saying he hates America. In fact, he's trying to fix it. That's the whole grievance in the first place. If we had a 1996 scenario with Bill Clinton where the country's doing fine, then Trump running would be like, okay, yeah, maybe he's just being a dick. But in this case, he does have a legitimate grievance that, yes, Joe Biden is running our place into the ground. Yeah. Now, so let's continue. The United States is respected again. Under Trump, we were attacked by Iran. This is, again, a lie because, sure, we were attacked by Iran in some place in Iraq, by the way, that we have since pulled out of, I think. But the point being is that we were completely felted when it came to the Afghanistan pullout. We lost leverage there completely. We are losing ground to China. We are losing sovereignty over Taiwan insofar as their straits are being slowly encroached on. That's a horrible thing. When it comes to Russia, that invasion happened under Joe Biden, which is way bigger than any sort of attack from Iran, by the way. The Israel stuff happened too, October 7th. That did not happen under Donald Trump. So those are objectively bigger deals geopolitically than us getting shelled by Iran and one off where nobody died, I think. Anyway, 40 out of 44 of Donald Trump's former administration officials are not endorsing him. But why? Because they worked with him. They saw how incompetent he is. They saw how dangerous he is. The choice is easy. Biden 2024. See, this would make sense if Donald Trump were losing support in the polls, but he's gaining and he was already on top at the time of the recording and of the tweet, which is to point out the fact that, yeah, these people that were around Trump are irrelevant. People that are voting for Trump are voting for Donald Trump. They're not voting about, well, his secretary of whatever the hell 6 years ago had this disagreement with them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And also, which one of the former administration officials that were fired or not endorsing Trump is more popular than Trump, has more clout than Trump, more charisma than Trump? None of them do. So they're all lackeys at one point. And so what does it matter if 40 out of his previously 44 capos are going to not endorse it? It literally doesn't matter. One of these people is Mike Pence, right? Okay, well, does anybody give a shit what he's got to say about anything? No, of course not. So this talking point is useless. And who's in the Biden bench anyway, by the way? Who's in the Biden bench that you would respect the opinion of? Mayorkas? Merrick Garland? All these great Americans, huh? Really? Of course not. Okay, President Biden just slammed Donald Trump for his incompetence. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. And that is just a stupid line, extremely stupid. And then Harry, backs up his girl by saying, exactly right. Donald Trump has absolutely no idea what he's doing. There's a reason why his own former VP isn't endorsing him. A couple of different things here, buddy. Just because your former VP doesn't endorse you means absolutely nothing depending on the circumstance, okay? Nobody in Trump camp gives a scintilla of a crap if Mike Pence were to drop dead or, for example, endorse or not endorse Donald Trump. It literally doesn't matter. This convinces nobody. It's just red meat to the base, or I guess for the vegans, it's tofu for the liberals. Okay, I mean, it's just stupid fodder what he's saying here. And I mean, just let's get an example here. Let's say Joe Biden did not endorse Obama in 2012. Do you think that fucking matters at all? Like if he let's say Biden retires and didn't endorse Obama over Romney, do you think that would have mattered? No. Would the Republicans bring that up just as a dunk? Sure. But would it change anybody's mind? No. Because people were voting for Obama, not Biden. They don't care about Biden. People were voting for Trump, not Pence in 2016, 20. Now, when it came down to it, let's look at another example prior hand, okay? Now, let's say in 2004, Bush were to not have a VP candidate of Dick Cheney. Let's say he said, Dick Cheney, fuck off, and they had some breakup, and Dick Cheney was no longer supporting Bush. Do you think that the Democrats would have won the election on the basis that Dick Cheney did not support his president? No, they don't care. The VP is irrelevant, dog. And who's the VP for Biden? Kamala. Kamala sucks too. Worse than Biden even in polling. Okay, so love this. So again, very cringe. President Biden just called out Trump for trying to overturn the election. Okay, when you lost, you appealed to the courts across the country. Not a single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, and I doubt you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. This is just not strong rhetoric. And believe it or not, the way that it's typed out makes it sound cooler and like more, I don't know, more coherent than the way that Biden spoke it in reality. And I think you all saw it, by the way. So not much to address here. Next one is all these MAGA Republicans who are making fun of President Biden for having a stutter are disgusting. How dare you make fun of a speech impediment? It's a slap in the face of millions of Americans who either have one or know someone who does. Have some damn respect. So this is full Hitler bunker cope scenario. Okay, so Harry understands and he's kind of somewhat addressing the Biden lack of speaking prowess. Now he's copying a plea from murder to manslaughter when it comes to copying a plea going from, let's say, senile, dementia-ridden 82-year-old to a guy who's a little older, elder statesman who stutters. Okay, first of all, just a poll in chat, comment down below. Do you know anybody over the age of 80 who has a stutter? Like, obviously, we know people that are like 10 years old, maybe 12 years old that have a stutter. They're nervous. They have ADHD, whatever have you. Okay. Now, how many 80-year-olds do you know with a stutter? Or maybe it's just dementia. I don't know. A lot of people that are 82 have Alzheimer's, and, it's not his fault necessarily, but it is for him running for president. And you might say, oh, I'm going to play the sympathy card. I'm Harry Sisson, sympathy card. Well, guess what? Scoreboard. Second of all, sympathy card doesn't work. Okay. You're running for president. That's your prerogative. It'd be one thing if Joe said, okay, look, I'm running for one term. I'll stabilize the country. He didn't, by the way. But let's say he did. And he said, okay, well, I'm going to let somebody else run. Okay, well, you can kind of respect that. Elder statesman sort of like in Roman times, thousands of years ago, there would be a temporary dictator, so to speak, that would kind of like reset things if things ever got too crazy, and then he would step down. That is kind of like the appeal of Biden, I guess, but then he's running again, which doesn't make sense. So so again, you're in a position, Harry, where you're sweeping it up for a stutter, which is more than a stutter. And by the way, you're saying that, oh yeah, in 4 years, it'll like somehow not deteriorate into a bigger issue. Like, of course, that's just a naive notion, Harry, but that's ostensibly what he's implying just logically here. What's also evident, of course, is that Joe Biden or his supporters playing the sympathy card is irrelevant. For example, some people might say, well, Joe doesn't know how much out of it he is. And so therefore, he's just a poor guy who's forced to run for president. Nobody's forcing you to run for president. It's super, super, super time consuming, a big decision to run again, to run the logistics of it, which I assume Biden's doing next to none of himself. But I mean, it's a big commitment. And so to be cognitive enough to at least do some of that shows that he is aware of his own failures. And by the way, you don't need to be fully mentally there with it to know that there's something wrong with you. You don't need to be in good health to know when you're in bad health, if you know what I mean. Like, for example, you can be sick and notice that your mouth or the way you speak is wrong because you know from prior hand experience that you were better off before the ailment. And so people with dementia, especially after years of having it, like I suspect Joe Biden has, he knows that he's losing steps here. And he could have arrogance and he can have, I'm the president, but dude, you're slipping. And I think he knows that. And my analogy for the viewers in chat today, and like the video if you think this is a banger analogy, because that's what my friends call me, the king of analogies, but here's one for the ages, boys. All right. So Joe Biden with this dementia is like if you're drinking and driving. Yes, when you're drinking and driving, and let's say you blow up 0.01 when the legal limit's 0.8 in most places, if you're over the legal limit by 20%, the truth is, folks, that you knew that you drank too much. Is there a gray area between, let's say, like 5 to 7 beers or whatever, how much you weigh? There is a gray area. And obviously, if you don't have a breathalyzer, you don't know for sure. But the point being, folks, is that people that are drunk driving have a vague idea of like, hey, I'm fucked up. Let's not actually get behind the wheel. And so when you get pulled over, you can't say, well, I didn't know. I'm drunk. I don't know what I'm doing. Therefore, I didn't do anything malicious or bad. It's like, no, you had a vague impression of like, okay, like, things are spinning. You're puking. Let's not get in the car. Okay. Joe Biden knew even 5 years ago that, yes, you are fucking old, dog. And again, it's one thing to say, in 2019, when he decided to run, that he was with it enough and, maybe I'll last 4 years and I'll have help anyway. But now it's another 4 years. Why? Nobody's forcing you to do that. There's no reason to. So the analogy for me is that you have a guy who's selfish and politically ambitious like Joe Biden, who wants to see himself be president, which a lot of us nerds do. Okay, fine. I want to be president as well. But the truth is that let's say in 2020, he was metaphorically like 3 beers in. When you're 3 beers in, at least for me or anybody that's competent, they can drive. Obviously, like that's not bad, but you are kind of buzzed maybe. Now, him running in 2024 is like you drink like 2 6-packs. You've got a 30 rack and you've finished half of it, and you're like, okay, I'm good. Okay, let's go off the driveway. Boy, I hit the mailbox. You are a fool, bro. And you could say like, okay, yeah, obviously you're not completely there. Like you couldn't do a math test when you're drunk, but you're still smart enough to know that, hey, I'm fucked up. Okay. Like if you're tired and you're not fully aware of what's happening, you know that you're tired. And so if you're going to do something that's very intensive, that's going to give you status like running for a second term for president, well, guess what? Just know that you're too tired. You're too slow. Just give up. Go to bed. Okay. So Harry Sisson, this is his nightcap of cope here on this 27th. Biden won the debate easily. He laid out a vision, a goal, a future that Americans can get behind. Trump was angry, conspiratorial, and deluded. This debate told us nothing new. It just further proved that Biden is the right choice. Well, let's consult what the American people say. Okay, so maybe Harry was wrong. Okay, CNN just told it like it is. Donald Trump broke the fact check machine. That's right. Every word out of that convicted felon's mouth was a lie. He cannot stop being a disgrace and dishonest to the American people. He's a complete and utter disgrace. Yeah, well, he kind of left out the fact that obviously those people on CNN said that the debate was a disaster, by the way. So even CNN is contradicting Harry here. He's not telling the full truth. Harry also says Biden had a cold tonight and thus his voice was raspy. But people think him having a cold is a reason to vote for Trump, the convicted felon, the proven sexual abuser, and the proven fraudster, end quote. If we elect Trump and forget him trying to destroy America, then shame on us. So now, again, he's saying, oh, Biden has a stutter. He had a cold. Again, so why didn't he just say he had a cold to begin with? The cold was an excuse they came up with after the fact that he flunked the debate. Because had he said he had a cold before the debate, it would have been like, oh, look, he's already hedging. So his pride said, I'm just going to pretend like I'm not on drugs. I'm also completely healthy. And then now he's saying, oh, I have a cold. So, I mean, it's just a lie after lie here. Here, there's some grasping at straws over Trump calling the soldiers losers and suckers. Which, again, doesn't really materially matter. They really address this a lot in the debate, more so than you'd expect for something he said several years ago. So this doesn't really change anybody's mind.
Debate between Biden and Trump just concluded, and we learned nothing new. This debate wasn't anything. It doesn't really matter what the candidates are saying on the stage. It matters what they would do as president. Joe Biden would try to restore women's reproductive freedoms, lowering healthcare costs, forgiving student debt, fighting climate change, helping out veterans, investing in infrastructure, creating jobs, all of those things. That's what Biden talked about tonight, and that's what Biden has done as president and what he plans to do when he wins again.
Okay, so he went from, oh my God, MAGA, it's over for you guys, you're going to be so felted, to looking at the scoreboard and saying, well, look, actually, the game, it didn't matter. It's an exhibition. The debate doesn't matter. It matters what the president does, in which case, then why the fuck did Biden propose a debate in the first place? If the whole defense, Harry, again, this doesn't line up. He'd be a terrible lawyer, by the way, if he could even pass the bar. The guy's over here like, well, actually, oh my God, I'm so excited for the debate. We can fucking destroy Trump face to face. And then he's like, well, actually, scoreboard, fuck. Well, actually, no, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. The debate doesn't matter.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, well, he wants to give a big tax break to the wealthy. He wants to further restrict women's reproductive rights. He wants to deny more elections and make sure to pardon himself for his criminal charge.
These are all facetious notes. Like I see what he's getting at, but still.
Of course, pardon the January 6th insurrectionists. He wants to get rid of all the policy that lowers healthcare.
This guy's such an idiot, bro. I feel like I'm wasting too much time addressing every little thing he says, but like, Jesus
Christ. And get rid of all the policy that fights climate change. That's what Donald Trump has promised to do, and that's what he would do if he wins. So what's the conclusion from the debate? What's the takeaway? Well, the conclusion is you may not love Joe Biden, you may not like him, you may not enjoy voting for him, but he's a lot better than Donald Trump. His policy is a...
This sounds like the equivalent of like when it's like, you know, the final song in the club. You've got a fat chick and you're drunk and it's like, well, you know what? It's better than your right hand. That's basically what he's saying here. You know, Joe sucks. He's senile. But, you know, he forgave or tried to forgive student loans. I've not seen any of that personally. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but okay.
A lot more pragmatic. Donald Trump is a bad man who wants to do bad things.
Can you sound less gay, please? He's a bad man. It sounds like a Tom Cruise, like, you know, Top Gun intro.
Trump is a bad man.
I'm a bad man. I'm a maverick.
That's the conclusion.
Cope alert. Okay, so he says, I'm voting for the old guy who believes in American democracy and not the old guy who's a convicted felon and tried to destroy it. Such an L, bro. Okay, so here he says, boom, Gavin Newsom just perfectly summed up the debate. Joe Biden won the debate. So here he's glazing Gavin Newsom, which I agree with. Gavin Newsom, if I had to pick somebody, like if I were completely guilty of something, I would want him to be my rhetorical defense force, okay? Because he's a really good bullshitter. And as an aspiring politician, I find that very impressive. Again, the guy's scum. I disagree with him on everything, but it's really good. Now, Gavin Newsom is an example of somebody who is actually being a good janitor for Joe Biden. Harry Sisson is an example of an amateur who has no idea what he's doing.
Governor, what was your reaction to what we saw on screen?
Well, not on the substance. He won the debate. I'm old school. I'm old fashioned. That's what matters to me. I thought the lies, I was taking notes about all the lies. I ran out of paper. Donald Trump, no accountability on those lies, talking down the American economy, talking down our democracy. That was alarming. This is a world we're living in now. Donald Trump created where 13-year-olds have to deliver the child of the person that impregnated them. This is a world that Donald Trump has created. And so for me, it was daylight and darkness. And I'm very proud of the president's record, and I'm very proud for his vision of the future.
Governor.
Okay. So again, that was the most Febreze-filled crock of shit you've ever interacted with face to face. Don't you? Like, chat, do you agree with me? Like, again, he had no leverage here. This was just a complete cope. And he was just sweeping it up for the disaster of the debate performance that Biden had. But still, Gavin Newsom gave up a way better defense than whatever Harry's been doing the past 24 hours. Just compare and contrast. Here's another thing. So now he's pointing out that CNN is fact-checking alleged Trump lies, which, okay. Now, this would be a valid point, but the truth is that, well, let's assume that Trump lied for the premise here. It still shows that the American people knew none the wiser anyway. So like, suffer, bitch. Who cares? Scoreboard. Okay. And did Trump get some facts wrong? Yeah, obviously. Yes, that's the way he is. He hyperbolizes. I had the biggest inauguration. I mean, stuff that doesn't really matter. But so, yeah, of course. And he got away with it because Biden's that bad. Okay, look at this. When I interviewed President Biden, well, I don't remember that. He answered my questions perfectly. He then asked about my family. He told me about his and thanked me for my involvement in politics. Well, that's ironic because his involvement in politics is hurting Biden, okay? You need to be fired ASAP, Harry. Okay, so moving on. Joe Biden is a good man and a good leader. Cap. Okay, now President Biden has my back and I have his 100%. Biden 2024. Now, if your guy won according to yourself, Harry, then you would probably say, you know what? You wouldn't have to endorse Joe Biden again, okay? Like, for example, I didn't tweet out Trump 2024 after the debate because it's already a given, buddy. And because Trump won, so there's no reason to back him up more, okay? He already won. I don't need to pat his back again. He's got plenty of people to do that. So, yeah, I don't have to reaffirm my support of Donald Trump because he never lost it. And he just trounced Biden in the debate. Whereas the Biden people are like, oh shit, look, I'm not cheating on you, Joe, with Gavin, okay? Yeah, I'm sucking off Gavin here, but Newsom, no, it's still Biden 2024. That shows a guy who's losing, obviously. You're losing trust. This is emblematic, and this is really just a badge of, basically the calm before the storm of a mutiny in the Democratic Party, where they might be knifing Biden at this point. Okay, now here's some more sweeping up. Again, so just imagine you're in the Hitler bunker. You're about to lose Berlin, basically, which is the election metaphorically, and you're in the Steiner offensive to recover Joe Biden's face after taking a big whopper loss, losing 2-1 basically. He's shaking people's hands, so he's doing great, guys.
It's going to happen over the next couple of days, and they're going to be out there fact checking all the things he said. I can't think of one thing he said that was true.
So this is the Biden sweep up, obviously. So he's like over here coping. So he's at Atlanta. He's addressing a watch party. I don't think Donald Trump had to do that because Donald Trump won. You see? So like, for example, he's going to the rhetorical chiropractor because his back is fucked up. Okay. He got Bane snatched. Okay. Like he did the Batman. All right. Now, Donald Trump does not have to assuage and ameliorate and be like, oh, guys, it's all okay, because everybody knows Trump is pointed towards a victory, which I didn't even see coming, being this easy, and it looks super cool. Now, look at this. In the preceding days, there's going to be fact checks of all the things Trump said. Who fucking cares, bro? It doesn't matter. No amount of fact checks could reverse the results here of 34%. If Trump won 55 to 45, you could say, okay, well, Trump lied about X, Y, and Z, therefore people might change their minds. But first of all, the people that are fact checking will get way less interaction and views and attention than the amount that watched the debate itself. The debate itself, let's say 100 million people watched it. The amount of people checking for fact checks is like not even 20% of that. So yeah, good luck. And plus, the people checking for fact checks are, guess what? CNN viewers, dipshit. So they're already going to vote for Biden anyway. The CNN fact checks for the Democrats is basically the equivalent of when you lose a close football game and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to review the defensive. Oh my God. No, actually the Eagles there was a defense interference that didn't get called. And so therefore, stuff like this. It's all cope anyway. It's not going to change shit. You can convince your own tribe that, yeah, obviously, like, oh, that when, there was a bad reffing call on this thing, therefore my team won in spirit. But when it comes down to the scoreboard, it is what it is, baby. Look at what a self-own this is, okay? Harry's such an idiot. Biden has a cold. Trump has 34 felony convictions. This is the easiest choice we'll ever make as a country. And I agree, actually. The American people made a choice, and they thought that Trump beat Biden 2-1. The American people have been making choices in polls. They think that Trump is winning in most of them. Look at the swing states. Look at the charts. Facts over feelings, baby. Okay, so Obama had a speech as president. So Harry's really digging deep in the cope. He's literally digging up like an 8-year-old Obama speech. Obama said, if something needs fixing, then lace up your shoes and do some organizing. And then Harry says, don't just sit there and worry about the debate. Get out there and work to make things better. So how many times can you concede that Biden lost the debate without actually saying it with your own words, dude? Don't just sit there and worry about the debate. So do you think the Trump camp is saying that? Hey guys, MAGA people, don't worry about the debate. Because what's the implication there? Don't worry about it. It's like saying, don't worry about your civil case. Don't worry about your arrest record. Yeah, because you're losing, dude. So your people are stressed and they're panicking because Joe Biden got trounced. Okay, get out there and work to make things better. Well, why do you need to make things better if you're winning? Scoreboard? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, President Biden has a packed house for a speech in Raleigh, North Carolina. The people are showing up for President Biden, and I'm excited to reelect him. Now, let's look into this, folks. This crowd is a fraction of any given Trump speech ever. Trump could pull this easily anywhere. Trump could do a rally in the capital of Alaska, which is pretty sparsely populated given it's a capital of a state, and he'd still pull more people than this North Carolina crowd that Harry is like really bragging over.
Did last night, but I spent 90 minutes on a stage debating a guy who has the morals of an alley cat. Did you see Trump last night? My guess he said, I mean it sincerely, a new record for the most lies told in a single debate.
Okay. So a couple of different things here. Now, Joe Biden had a speech basically in North Carolina, I believe, where he was obviously just trying to show that that he's not senile. So he's already on the back foot with the public. But anyway, just a couple of explanations as to why he's sharper here than he was in the debate is because Joe Biden, first of all, this is in the early afternoon. The debate was at 9 p.m. their time, which you might say, well, that's unfair to Biden. But it's like, dude, if the president can't be cognizant at 9 p.m., then what the fuck happens if we get nuked at 10 p.m.? What, is he going to be asleep? And, in which case, okay, then what? You think Kamala is going to like really defend us against Russian nukes or something? So yeah, the president needs to be able to wake up whenever. In fact, the criticism against Trump was that he would be up at 3 a.m. tweeting back then. And so that probably won't be an issue for Donald. And again, he sounds better here because he's reading off of a teleprompter, which again is fine, but you ought to be able to speak out of what you've made up on the spot, because that's important in politics. Obviously, like you're not going to always have a teleprompter if you're going to be discussing in private with Putin, Kim Jong-un, anybody who's relevant, Xi Jinping. So, you can't just rely on a teleprompter all the time. I mean, it's like relying on, like a photo math for your math class. I mean, at some point you got to do an exam and then you're fucked because you can't cheat. So like, come on, get good. So this might be the first thing, the first talking point that Harry has that's good for Biden is that apparently ever since the debate, Biden's fundraised about $14 million, whereas Trump has only fundraised $8 million. The only problem I have with this, obviously, is that, that he's leaving out the context that Trump also made hundreds of millions of dollars through fundraising after the conviction. Okay. So, I mean, on the net, Trump is still up financially, which a Republican hasn't been able to do in God knows how long. And so that's a really bad look for Democrats when you actually look into the facts. So here, Harry is literally making stuff up. He is pointing out that Donald Trump had empty chairs at his rally, which is a little crazy because look at this right here. Don't let leftists fool you with their edited clip. So this is the Trump rally. That's the full context. What empty seats? So that's some selective editing from Harry, if I could just guess, okay? Come on. So here, Harry is posting a letter from Joe Biden, allegedly, from May 30th. May 30th. So he's super desperate. It kind of seems that Biden stroking his ego even a little bit has gone complete and utter undying loyalty and compliance from Harry, which kind of shows how cheap he is, actually. Okay, now he's advocating for door-to-door canvassing, I guess, of voters. Okay, look, this video has gone on for so long. I'm getting fatigued, okay? There's so much bull jive right now. He's citing people at Waffle House saying that they love Biden, so that's not a good defense. Harry Sisson's pointing out to Nancy Pelosi as a guard dog for Joe, which is a really bad look because Nancy Pelosi is hated by everybody. Here we've got Harry saying a 90-minute debate shouldn't negate 3.5 years of progress. I'm voting for Biden because he has a vision, a goal, and an outlook for America. Trump only cares about himself and only himself. Well, truth is, folks, is that he is definitely in the wrong here. It's just so wrong. And also, you could say there's been progress, which I disagree with, but also another 4 years of Biden is what you're trying to say. So the implication is that Biden's done good thus far. Therefore, another 4 years of an old guy is great. Okay.
People now say that President Biden should drop out and the Democrats should replace him because of one 90-minute debate. And it's like, okay, when are those same people going to start giving that same treatment to Donald Trump, the guy who's been convicted of 34 felonies, was found liable for sexual abuse, found liable for defamation, has to pay nearly $500 million in business fraud fines, is facing an additional 54 felony charges in 3 different jurisdictions? When are they going to start calling on Donald Trump to drop out because of that?
The difference is that they're only, oh my fucking God. This guy's so naive. The Democrats have obviously known, most of them have known, that Joe Biden is slow. They've been okay with it because they're like, okay, well, as long as he doesn't have to debate Trump, and if he debates Trump, he won't lose, then they're going to vote for him. Now they're saying, like, clearly we're looking at the scoreboard, and some Democrats with the brain are saying, hey, you know what the hell? Like, this guy's a complete liability. Let's switch horses. And Harry's like, well, you've been supporting him this far. And also, why aren't you calling for Trump to drop out? I think they want Trump to drop out because obviously a lot of Democrats voted for Nikki Haley in the primary. A lot of Democrats are voting for Biden just to get Trump out of office or to stop him from getting back in. So he's just an idiot.
I think all of that is a lot more significant than one 90-minute debate, but that's just me. We're seeing all of these people.
Again, the implication being that this is a one-off and that if they were to run it again, that Biden would do a lot better this time, which is just ridiculous. One 90-minute debate. That's all you needed, dude. In fact, you only needed the first couple minutes to show that Biden was out. Okay, President Biden has raised $27 million in 2 days, and a number of polls gave him gaining support after the debate. Okay, this is just facetious. Again, 27 million contrasted to Trump gaining way more in fundraising from the conviction. And so Trump has more money than Biden right now. And insofar as the polls are concerned, I don't believe that for a second. I mean, just look at this. For Biden to gain support in the election while losing the debate 2-1 it's actually mathematically impossible. I don't know what the hell he's reading. I don't know if he has still, maybe he does have, wait, that explains a lot. He has dyslexia. That's why. Maybe he's reading Trump +3 as Biden +3. I don't know what the fuck he's got going on. Then so much for the Biden needs to drop out narrative. Don't panic. Just go vote. And plus, I was kidding about the dyslexia. I think he's just a liar, actually. Biden needs to drop out. So he's actually sweeping it up for Biden. So he's paid by Biden. Maybe that's why. He won't support Newsom or something. Okay. Now he's bragging about a really crappy billboard in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin that says, please remember, and it's a picture of Trump with Epstein from 25 years ago. Okay. Reminder, Trump disassociated with Jeffrey Epstein in 2002. Okay. Now, Jeffrey Epstein was not charged with anything insofar as trafficking or anything about that until like 2008. So, what's even the implication? Okay, so like if I'm friends with a guy who 6 years after I stopped talking to him does something against children, that's somehow bad for me. Why? Oh, and you praise them? Yeah, when I didn't know about this other thing, dude. If it was even happening in 2002 at that point, who knows? The final post up until right now, 6/29/24 at 2:41 p.m. Arizona time, is this post of Cope, where basically he's showing a lot of people in New York waiting for Biden, which again is a very liberal area, and so that doesn't really mean anything. And one last final reminder for the scoreboard right here. Look, I'm lighting Harry Sisson up because he's my age, and so it's a little viscerally exciting, I think, too, because I have like a contemporary now in a way where like I'm advocating for Donald Trump, and not really, because the truth is on the side of the Republican Party for the most part anyway. But truth is that like to see a guy my age have to defend Biden or lose his career or clout is just kind of enthralling, because again, it's just such a bad position to have, and just to look at him lie and flounder is so sadistic of me, but I love it. Okay, so anyway, comment down below what you thought, like the video if you like it, and leave any other ideas as to whoever else wants to see me roast another Democratic influencer. And if Harry Sisson wants to reply to me, that's completely fine. He can try to roast me. He'd lose, though. Also, if he wants to debate me on Trump versus Biden, I'll easily do that, too, because I'd mop the floor with him, obviously. And he's probably familiar with that because he's a janitor for Joe anyway. And so we'll see y'all in the next one. Adios.